Stop whatever you're doing, because what went down in Hollywood that night was far from a typical celebrity breakup. No one was prepared for how quickly a quiet relationship whisper exploded into a full-blown scandal that rocked the internet. People thought they had already witnessed messy drama before, but this situation hit differently. This wasn't just trending gossip that faded in a few hours. This was the kind of controversy that made everyone pause and ask, what's really happened behind those picture-perfect celebrity images? It all began when Teyana Taylor, a woman known for guarding her private struggles with strength and silence, suddenly did the unexpected. She had always been someone who kept her pain behind closed doors, never letting the world see cracks in her armor. But that night, everything shifted. She appeared online looking completely drained, like she had been carrying emotional weight for weeks. Her face reflected heartbreak, yet her voice carried a sharp edge of anger, the kind that comes when someone realizes they've been deceived. Fans couldn't look away because it didn't feel staged or dramatic for attention. It felt raw, it felt real, and honestly, it felt uncomfortable to watch. That's when things took a serious turn, because the name she mentioned wasn't just any man. It was Pierre, the rising star so many people had praised as charming, respectful, and the definition of a good guy. His reputation had been so clean that no one imagined his name being attached to something this ugly. But here's where the shock deepened. Teyana made it clear this wasn't just a simple breakup. She painted it as a betrayal that felt calculated, almost like she'd been living inside a story where the ending had already been written, and she didn't even know it. As she spoke, the tension grew heavier. She described late nights, odd excuses, and moments that didn't add up. She hinted that Aaron's distance wasn't about work or stress. It was because his focus had already shifted elsewhere. And then the internet practically froze when another name entered the conversation. The name that instantly transformed this into a Hollywood headline: Harvey. And this wasn't just some random rumor being tossed around. Harvey is the kind of celebrity whose name carries influence, cameras, and serious attention. The second her name entered the narrative, fans realized this wasn't only about love. It was about status. Teyana's tone sharpened, and it was clear she wasn't just heartbroken. She felt replaced. She made it sound like she had been building something real, while Aaron had quietly been searching for something newer, shinier, and more beneficial for his career. That idea hit viewers hard. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. It felt like someone had treated a relationship as a stepping stone in a larger plan. And what made the story even more unsettling was how intentional everything seemed. It didn't feel like messy drama by accident. It felt messy by design. But the shock didn't stop there. Teyana hinted that she didn't just have emotions, she had receipts. She suggested there were messages, suspicious timelines, and private moments that were never meant to see the light of day. Instantly, the internet went into investigation mode. Why didn't certain trips line up with the stories Aaron told? Why did Lori suddenly start appearing around the same time Aaron became distant? Overnight, fans turned into detectives, dissecting every date post and sighting they could find. The tension only intensified when Teyana made it clear she was done staying silent. She sounded like someone pushed her limit, someone with nothing left to lose. She implied that people close to Aaron were already scrambling behind the scenes, trying to contain the damage before it spiraled further. But she wasn't interested in protecting anyone anymore. She spoke like the truth was already burning, and no one could put the fire out. And just when people thought this was only a painful love triangle, the story twisted again. The rumors began to shift into something bigger. It started to feel like this wasn't just heartbreak. It was Hollywood strategy, image control, and secrets running deeper than anyone expected. The internet held its breath, knowing that whatever came next could change everything. Because once that first emotional wave hit online, the situation didn't cool down, it escalated. By the next morning, Hollywood felt like it was standing still, waiting. This wasn't just breakup talk anymore. It was a scandal that people were beginning to suspect had layers, planning, and something much larger hiding beneath the surface. This is where things took a sharp turn, because fans started noticing just how quickly the narrative was changing. Suddenly, it wasn't only about Teyana being hurt. The focus shifted to Pierre, who was now being viewed in a completely different light. The man once praised for being respectful, private, and grounded was now facing whispers that painted him as distant and calculated. Teyana suggested that while she had been emotionally invested, Aaron may have already been planning his next chapter. It didn't sound like she believed the relationship ended naturally. It sounded like she felt phased out. And here's what really intensified the situation. The more people looked back, the more things started to feel off. Old interviews resurfaced where Aaron seemed to dodge questions about commitment. Public moments that once looked normal suddenly felt suspicious under a new lens. Fans began asking a serious question. Was he ever fully in it? That single thought pushed the controversy into deeper territory, because now this didn't feel like ordinary cheating gossip. It started to feel strategic. Then the Lori Harvey angle grew even louder. What shocked people most was how quickly her name became central to the storm. Online speculation suggested Lori didn't just appear randomly. Some believed she entered the picture right, as Aaron's career was rising to a new level. That timing made people wonder, was this romance, or was this positioning? Rumors swirled that Aaron may have won a relationship that matched a new public image, a higher level fame, and that Lori fit seamlessly into that world. Supporters of Teyana began connecting dots many wished weren't there. They pointed to timelines that didn't line up, trips that raised eyebrows, and moments where Aaron claimed to be busy, while sightings and online chatter suggested otherwise. As always, the internet did what it does best. It investigated. Dates were compared. Posts were analyzed. Appearances were tracked. And suddenly, this didn't feel like a clean breakup, followed by a fresh start. It felt like overlap. But the tension didn't stop there. Teyana hinted she had seen messages. Not just casual texts, but conversations that made it seem like a transition had been happening quietly behind her back. She made it sound like Aaron wasn't simply drifting away emotionally. Instead, he may have been preparing an exit while still present in her life. That idea hit her supporters hard because it suggested she had been living in a version of reality that wasn't fully honest. What made the situation even heavier was how the conversation shifted from emotion to business. This no longer felt like just heartbreak. It started to feel like branding, like relationships were being viewed as career moves. Once that thought entered the discussion, everything became more unsettling. The scandal wasn't just gossip anymore. It became a conversation about how Hollywood sometimes treats love like a strategic partnership. Then came another twist. Rumors began circulating that people close to Aaron were nervous behind the scenes. Online chatter claimed calls were being made, and quiet efforts were underway to keep things from escalating further. And whenever the public senses that someone might be trying to contain a story, it only makes them listen more closely. Nothing fuels a scandal faster than the belief that someone wanted buried. The tension climbed even higher when Teyana hinted she wasn't finished speaking. She made it seem like the public had only heard the surface-level version of events. According to her tone, what happened between Aaron and Lori was just one piece of a much bigger picture. Fans waited, convinced something even larger was about to come out. And just when people thought the controversy had peaked, the rumors shifted again. Now, whispers suggested this wasn't only about romance at all. Talk of planning, image control, and behind-the-scenes agreements began floating around online. Suddenly, this didn't resemble a typical celebrity breakup anymore. It felt colder, more calculated. People began saying this wasn't simply love falling apart. It was a Hollywood move, an image play, something designed. That's when another unsettling idea started spreading among both insiders and fans. What if Pierre wasn't just moving on personally? What if his life was being shaped with career strategy in mind? The way he seemed to pull back from Teyana, the timing of Lori's appearance. To some observers, it felt too smooth, too perfectly timed to be coincidence. And here's where the narrative shifted even further. The gossip moved away from feelings and into industry talk. Online voices speculated that conversations may have been happening behind closed doors, not about love, but about headlines, image, and visibility. Some believed Aaron wanted a new era, a different public look, and a partner whose presence matched the spotlight he was entering. With her influence and attention, Lori Harvey was seen by many as fitting that picture exactly. Before long, the internet turned that into a bigger accusation. That Teyana wasn't simply being left. She was being replaced for branding purposes. Her supporters started revisiting small details that once seemed harmless. They pointed out how rarely Aaron spoke about her publicly, how he kept things vague, how he seemed careful with words, almost like he was protecting a future narrative. To them, it didn't feel accidental anymore. It felt like someone quietly preparing an exit long before the door officially closed. Things took an even darker turn when people began suggesting the relationship might have been turning into a PR narrative long before it officially ended. That idea made the entire scandal feel heavier, because it implied Teyana's heartbreak wasn't just personal pain. It may have been part of a larger machine. But that wasn't all. New rumors started circulating about money, and fans began asking uncomfortable questions. Had Teyana supported Aaron's project behind the scenes? Had she invested emotionally and financially while he was quietly preparing to walk away? What shocked people most was how quickly the conversation shifted from emotional betrayal to something deeper. It started to sound like she may have offered trust, loyalty, and resources, only for him to use that same support system to build a future that didn't include her. That's when the story stopped feeling like gossip and started feeling serious. Cheating rumors were one thing. Whispers about someone being used were something else entirely. Online reactions turned angry because many felt Teyana wasn't just losing a partner. She was being treated like a stepping stone in someone else's climb. And that kind of betrayal hits differently because it's no longer about love. It's about respect. Then another twist sent the tension through the roof. Speculation began about possible documents, private agreements, and behind-the-scenes planning that could suggest this breakup wasn't sudden at all. The idea that Hollywood relationships might be mapped out like business schedules made people uneasy. Viewers weren't just watching drama anymore. They felt like they were watching a system at work. Teyana hinted once again that she wasn't finished speaking. Her tone suggested she had seen enough to know the situation wasn't accidental. And the more she implied there was more to reveal, the more the public leaned in, feeling like she was standing on the edge of exposing something massive. Just when everyone thought the worst-case scenario was a love triangle mixed with PR strategy, another rumor shifted the entire story. This next twist wasn't just about romance or image. It was about something missing, something valuable, something that could push this controversy into territory far beyond gossip. Once talk of something missing began circulating, the scandal transformed completely. It no longer felt like a messy breakup or even a branding betrayal. It started sounding darker, like a line had been crossed that no one expected. Whispers spread that the real betrayal might not have been emotional alone. People began saying that valuable creative material had disappeared during the chaos. Not jewelry, not simple cash, but private work, unreleased content, things tied directly to Teyana's legacy. That's when fans started wondering if the timing of the breakup wasn't just about Lori Harvey, but about distraction. And suddenly, Aaron Pierre's name became linked to those whispers. The same man once described as quiet and respectful was now being discussed as someone possibly hiding serious secrets. Online speculation suggested his exit from Teyana's life might not have been just walking away from love, but walking away with something he shouldn't have had. The conversation shifted overnight. People stopped asking, did he cheat? And started asking, did he use her? And even, did he take advantage of her trust? The story escalated so fast that it no longer felt like entertainment gossip. It felt like the beginning of a mystery. Fans revisited every clue and every statement Teyana had made, realizing she might have been hinting at something bigger all along. Aaron's image didn't just crack under pressure. It shattered. Online commentary grew ruthless, and the pressure became so intense that some people around him reportedly began distancing themselves. Meanwhile, Lori Harvey's side, which had remained quiet, appeared eager to stay far away from the storm. The glamour that once surrounded the story faded quickly once the situation started sounding serious. But here's what truly stunned people. Teyana didn't look defeated. She looked clear, focused, like someone who had reached a point where silence was no longer an option. She hinted that she had evidence and that the truth was no longer something she intended to keep hidden. And when someone who's been quiet for so long begins to speak with calm certainty, it changes the energy completely. Now, she didn't just sound emotional. She sounded ready. Rumors reached another level when talk of possible footage began circulating. Alleged proof that showed Aaron leaving with more than just a damaged reputation. The public started treating the situation less like celebrity drama and more like an unfolding mystery. This wasn't just about who he chose next. It was about what may have happened behind the scenes before he left. From there, the fallout seemed unstoppable. Online chatter suggested projects could be paused, relationships strained, and future opportunities suddenly uncertain. Lori, once seen as the center of a glamorous new chapter, appeared to drift quietly away as the controversy grew too intense. In the end, Aaron seemed isolated. The same man who once appeared to be carefully building a perfect rise now caught in a storm he couldn't control. Meanwhile, Teyana appeared to transform. What started as heartbreak shifted into power. What began as betrayal turned into a warning story echoing through the industry. And even after all of that, the story didn't feel finished. It felt like the beginning of something bigger. Teyana hinted there were still secrets unrevealed, still names unspoken, still truths waiting for the right moment. The internet stayed locked in because everyone sensed the same thing. This wasn't just celebrity gossip anymore. It was a reminder how quickly love, fame, and ambition can collide and turn ruthless. And even now, one question still hangs in the air like a cliffhanger. What else hasn't come out yet? Before we wrap up this unbelievable situation, I want to hear from you. Do you think this was just a messy breakup? Or was there something much deeper and more calculated happening behind the scenes? Stories like this remind us that in Hollywood, things are rarely as simple as they look. And sometimes the truth is stranger than the rumors. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you think about Teyana, Aaron, and Lori's shocking controversy. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next explosive story. Because trust me, the next one might be even wilder.